Jivanam Anandam Nivartanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakalaha Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaivamidrisham Iha Jani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadhanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitamba Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahaituki Twayi Ainam Datanuja Kinkaram Patitambam Vishame Bhavam Budhau Kripaya Tava Pada Pankajastita Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya Nayanam Galadashudharaya Vadanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Pulakair Nichitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayitam Nimishena Chakshusha Prabrishayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahe Name Ashlishyava Padaratam Pinastuma Darshanan Marmahatam Karotuva Yata Tatava Vidadhatolam Pato Mat Prananatastu Sa Evana Paraha Shishi Shikshashtakam Ki Jai. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana moment is a prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is a life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. So this first shloka is a glorification of the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, and it is compared to Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam. I will focus on Vidyavadu Jivanam. Vidya means what? What's the meaning of Vidya?
Knowledge, Maharaj.
You can use the chat actively if you want to. Yes, Vidya means knowledge. Vidya means education also. Gyan means knowledge. Actually, Vidya means education. Vidyavadu Jivanam means the life of education is this Harinam Sankirtana. Isn't that a very important statement? The life of education is life of education is Harinam Sankirtana. Now, why it is mentioned like that? That's what is today's discussion about. We know something about education. We think education is something. And we send our children to the schools. We ourselves go to the school and colleges. We also get educated, everything. So obviously, what we learn outside is all material education. We know all that. We study matter deeply. We study physics. We study that, this, science, everything. So this is not referring to that alone. I don't want to eliminate this. It is not that this knowledge is not important, what we are studying. But a lot is missing from that knowledge. Knowledge should always mean enlightenment. Enlightenment means happiness and fulfillment because you know. That's why it's called KNOWLEDGE. It's knowing about. And what is it that you want to know? I want to know that which will make me feel comfortable, happy, and fulfilled. Knowledge, fulfilling thing means, you get that filled feeling, right? Just like when you eat, the Bhagavatam compares it to eat. Devotional service, Bhakti Yoga is compared to eating. Eating means what? you're hungry. Number one is, I need to appease my hunger. Why else do we eat? We eat for nourishment. We eat for satisfaction. So it says that bhakti does the same thing to the soul. Soul is hankering for association of the supreme absolute truth, the reality. I don't call it God. Let's not call it Krishna also. The soul is hankering for reality, fulfillment, becoming complete, etc. So it is therefore needs, it's got therefore a solid need. Bhakti satisfies that need. Just like when you are hungry, a good plate of food in front of you, prasadam, you feel that excitement. You feel that excitement, no? This is exactly what's going to satisfy me. First thing is, by Gyan, you know, this is what will satisfy me. And if it is your mother is prepared the same dishes that you were thinking and expecting and you like, that's even more fulfilling. If the plate is Gyan, Karma, Ashtanga, it is not fulfilling. It's only partially fulfilling. If the plate is Bhakti, then the right menu, right? Let me say it is chanting, reading Bhagavatam, association, prasadam. That's the menu. Wow! That's what the soul needs. That's what the soul needs. So, in this shloka in the Bhagavatam says, Tushti Pushti Kshud Apaya, that when you are hungry and you sit down to eat, Tushti, satisfaction, because you get what you want to eat. Pushti, nourishment. Kshud Apaya means your hunger is appeased. All these things happen to you when you sit down to eat. Same way, the soul, when it gets bhakti, Tushti Pushti Kshuddhapaya will happen. Satisfied, fulfilled. Why? Satchit Ananda is your nature. Eternity, knowledge and bliss. All these things will get satisfied. Then it is called education. Education means enlightenment. Enlightenment means enlightenment of you, person, soul. And that will happen like this. This Harinam Sankirtan will do this. In one shot, it will do that. You don't have to do many things. You don't have to go to the arduous task of gaining knowledge this way, doing Ashtanga Yoga that way, doing karma, all the homa, yajna, tapasya, austerities, everything. Don't have to do. With one swell stroke. That is what the shloka is saying. It is saying, just by chanting, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, the soul of education. You must understand this very well. I can definitely not explain it to the Indian government to change the education like this. It's impossible. The next level I can do is to get all the schools together. There also they'll not listen to this. Maybe some 1%, 2% will say, okay, Swamiji, since you say do Kirtan, corporation school, come and do. Anyway, nobody is there. I may get response like that. The next level is the parents. If I tell them, but will he get a job by doing Harinam Sankirtan? Will he get admission in New York State University by doing it? Then I don't mind. They have conditions like that. I don't mind listening to anything anybody says, provided I get this. That is the way they look at it. And if you go to the students, the final level, they will also be very confused. They don't have no maturity. They don't know what is what. And mostly they will listen to what the parents say. Right? This is how it is. So it's only the devotees whom we can talk to. And the devotees will listen to and send their children to the regular school. This is what is going on. It's highly frustrating. In ISKCON, after 50 and odd years, we still have not established an education institution focused on some of these principles, which Prabhupada wanted. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but I'm saying it's not so easy to do things. It's not so easy for a person to understand instructions given in Bhagavad Gita or by the Acharyas or Lord Chaitanya and all that. It takes a long time for the living entity. He has got freedom and choice, which he exercises to the full all the time. And most of the time, according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, he takes a wrong decision. And he's happy about it. These are all the problems. And he's perfectly all right, especially when he's in good karma, he's super happy about it. What is wrong with my decision? I did it. It goes on a big trip. So under these situations and circumstances, we have to understand at least theory, Vidya Vadu Jivanam, the soul of education. It means that if you have this in place, even if you send your child to the school outside, there will be a difference. If you perform this as a centerpiece, as the most important activity, first things first, if you perform this, what is that? Chant Hare Krishna. I must give time specifically for chanting, because other things like it is Krishna himself who has come in the name of in his name, and the sound vibration is he himself, etc., etc., the technical details. I must get educated in life. What the Shikshashtakam is telling is, don't have to go to school. School has come to you in the form of the holy name. School has come to you and hanging in front of you, open your mouth, chant. And if you do that, you are doing the king of knowledge. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. The king of knowledge is automatically going to be revealed to you if you chant the holy name. And because the king of knowledge will be revealed to you, you'll have the highest education. So the soul of education means what ticks and what makes everything else work, including the material portion of the education, society, you, your faculties, your intelligence, your goal of life, your life's purpose, everything what makes work is Harinama Sankirtana in Kali Yuga. Therefore, there is no option. It is not that it is an option that if you want, you can do Harinama, or you can do something else. There is no option. Nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranita. No option, no option, no option. No gati, no option, but the chanting of the holy name. So unless people understand this, it's very difficult for us to become educated. One who has faith in the holy name is educated, as per Shikshashtakam. One who has faith in the holy name is actually a learned person. Right? So then Haridas Thakur, that's why Prabhupada called him the dean of the department of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. He is expert, he is professor, dean, because he understood that importance and he executed it for everybody to see. And the worst thing is he was from a Muslim family and he executed this. You should understand what's the context, why it is like that. That even a person like a Muslim, born in a Muslim family, which is like sinful because they eat the cow and everything, even he, by chanting the holy name, can become the greatest and the highest personality. That is what this education does to you. So, Harirnama, Harirnama, Harirnama eva kevalam. For education, that alone is enough, but people won't have faith. The problem is always our faith in these statements. Some will think it's absolutist statement. Some will think it is a faith-based thing and you have to have faith. then only you can execute it. And I don't have faith. Can somebody put some faith in me? Then we bring Prabhupada's books and we ask him to read, and they explain things, and he develops faith. And then he chants Hare Krishna. Everybody should land up in chanting the holy name as the topmost process. Right? There's the meaning of saying Cheto Darpanamarjanam, because what it does, Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam, cleanses your heart. It puts off the fire of material nature, right? It is the moon, benediction moon, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Then it is a life of all education, Vidyavadu Jivanam. Anandam Buddhivardhanam, gives bliss like nothing. Pratipadam, at every step. Purna Amrita Swadhanam. Purna Amrita Swad. Complete nectar taste. Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. All glories, victory to the holy name, which does these things. Okay, so our focus is Vidya and the soul of Vidya. Somebody is quoted here, Isopanishad. Yes. Vidyamscha avidyamscha yastad vedo bhayagum saha. It's a nice shloka in the Isopanishad, that there are two things. One is Vidya and Avidya. Andham tamaha pravishanti ye avidyam upasate tato bhuyah ivate tamo ya vidyayagunch rataha. It says Andham tama pravishanti. If you cultivate avidya, you'll go to lower regions of knowledge or ignorance. That it says. And although you may be studying in school, university, everything, and that is exactly what's happening to many people. Nobody is satisfied. The education does not satisfy you, fulfill you. Tushti pushti kshuddhapaya. I'm not at all. So imagine a meal. Sometimes I remember I used to eat in my mess in REC Trichy, I mean NIT, and we'll come hungry, we'll eat it, give some funny type of a thing. Cha! Everybody will say, cha! And they'll tell that mess fellow, Niya sabra, Niya sabra, kotikoni. They'll say, and they push it and they'll go to the restaurant to eat. I remember that. Then I think, my gosh, these guys can't tolerate a little bit. One day, the fellow needs rest. Tuesday and all, he'll make like this. The whole weekend he'll be very busy. Monday he'll be super busy also. Tuesday is his off. So he will tell somebody to cook. That fellow will make a sambar like rasam. And he will make the poriyal like something else. It will be not pretty difficult to eat. Somehow they will eat and they'll go. And they feel that I just cannot get satisfied with this. I just cannot. I cannot. I have to go to the restaurant and go and spend my own money and eat. Although I'm paying in the mess, I cannot eat. I eat dissatisfaction. Cannot even start eating. Cannot even start eating. So, but the soul, when it chants Hare Krishna, will get everything very positively. Right? So in the Isopanishad, this is mentioned. Thank you for putting that. Maharaj, should I have the knowledge to chant the holy name when don't know anything about holy name? You will get knowledge. You should have the desire to chant. You should have faith. These two things. And you start chanting. From chanting comes everything else. From chanting comes everything else, including Maya. Haridas Thakur, Maya came and visited Haridas Thakur. Ennaya unna patti ellarume pesranga nee romba ragala. You're creating a lot of problems for me also. Let me check out, I thought. And he came. She came. Second lady who came. First is the Ramachandra Khan's prostitute. And then second lady who came is Maya herself. That means super powerful. என்னுடைய representative சரியா வேலை பண்ண முடியலையாமே, நானே வந்துட்டேன். I am myself coming. My balam me pasya maya ya stri maya balino disham Yakkaroti padakrantam dhruvi jimbre na kevalam. Kapila is saying that beware of the power of my Maya in the form of a woman. She simply by shaking her eyebrows will bring the greatest of person down to her feet. Right? So that woman was sent and Haridas Thakur coolly initiated her. What a powerful person he must be. Not only does he stand the competition and they do something more to you, I'll give you also Harinam. The lady who come to destroy him makes him a devotee, sends him back to Ramachandra. So he did that. So therefore Maya came and visited him. So you did that to my representative, powerful representative, I came myself. And Maya came herself. You must have understood of what testing would have gone for Haridas Thakur. He just chanted Hare Krishna. He just deeply chanted Hare Krishna, holding on to the holy name. Maya assumed defeat and said, hats off to you, Haridas Thakur, and left. That is the power of the holy name. That is the power of the holy name if it is practiced sincerely, very sincerely, deeply, seriously. Okay, I will stop here. Any question? ஏதாவது கேள்வி இருக்குங்களா தமிழ்ல? Do you have any question ഇംഗ്ലീഷില്? Because Vivek is here. മലയാളത്തില് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ചോദ്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടോ? വിവേക്, വേറെ ആര് இருக்காங்க? കന്നഡ? Anybody ಕನ್ನಡ? ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡವಾ? ಅಶ್ವಿನ್, you are ಕನ್ನಡಿಗ? ಏನ್ರಿ ಹೇಳಲ್ವಾ ನೀಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ? ಇಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ನೀವೇನು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ವಾ ನಮ್ಗೆ? Where is Anup? Anup is a Kannadiga fellow. Yes or no? Is he here or he's trying to attend some other session also?
Yes, here.
He asked you to say so? He's not here. He's attending the Bhakti Shastri session. I know. Yes. Devapati and then Giriraj Govinda.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, sometime in a while, we can't do this quality chanting. We can't spend so much time, quality time in chanting, so that we chant so fast. We know that we are not chanting with so much focus. So, is that okay if we have to do some service or have some other priority, like we are traveling somewhere? So, is that okay if we compromise also? What is the substitute for that, Maharaj?
You will get what you give. Geyata mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamiham. If you think it is not priority, then why should you get the treasure? That means you will not know how to look after it. If you're not paying priority, you don't have value for it. Why is it should be given to you? A treasure cannot be given to you if you don't think it is valuable, because you will not keep it properly. Am I right? You're an auditor. காசு கொடுக்கும்போது you all these trial balance, debit loss, credit எல்லாம் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க இல்லையா? Money is valuable or not? For your client especially, and for you also, very valuable, isn't it? So you're spending time. For you, that has become priority, means you will get that result. You will make money. If you make Harinam the priority, devotional service the priority, Krishna the priority, then you will get bhakti also. Generally speaking, this is what I'm saying. The exactly what you said is right. Our priorities is where we need to focus. That is even deeper. we are giving priority according to what we desire and want. What we desire and want, according to that, we are giving priority. You would feel the pulse of your desire. What is it that I really want in life? You are endeavoring according to that. That is why it is necessary to zoom out and see what I am doing, why I am doing what I am doing, what I am getting, and how useful it is to me. Everybody should look at these things in life. When you look at like that, you may not have knowledge how to make these things. Then you get knowledge by reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad, Prabhupada's books, hearing. Then you know what to pay value to. That is what is today's topic, Vidya Vadu Jivanam. If you want to get educated, you should chant the holy name. Same way, if you want to progress in your life, spiritually, devotionally, material progress is a byproduct of spiritual and devotional progress. But if you concentrate on the byproduct and forget the main product, which you should be working for, then whatever consequences will come from that will come to you. You'll develop the byproduct very well. That's what will happen. So at least sadhana means these things will happen. What will be transiting that type of a value that we have. Gradually, as we keep chanting, and the more we understand, the more we realize, the more priority we'll give to chanting. Because we're getting educated, no? The more you chant, the more you're getting educated. The more you get educated, the more value you pay. And the more value you pay and the more you do, the more you get. So it's something like a logarithmic thing that will go. It'll exponentially increase if you seriously chant. Got it? Yeah. Giriraj Govinda and then Ashwin Balaji and then Narahari Nareshwar. Are you there, Giriraj?
Maharaj, I have put on chat the question.
1 second. I am a Kannadiga. I know that. Okay. Maharaj, are there some yardsticks to see if an individual is Sishashtakam educated, say at 10 years of age, this should be expected, and by 20, this should be expected? That is the question, famous question of most people who are wanting to quantify and wanting to get some physical expression of something that is highly subtle and subjective. Measurement of something that is so subjective. I'm using the word subjective. I don't think even that is the right word to use. That is based on the great subject and object discussion and everything. So we'll use the word subjective, but I think you know what I mean. The spiritual progress of a person is highly, deeply subjective. And we can definitely, to some extent, measure it on the outside, but it not be 100% indication correctly, exactly. Just like you are going to study subatomic particle, you mostly study the effects of the particles on something else. By nature, you may not be able to see the particle itself. Overall, I'm saying, I may be technically wrong, but overall. Something similar to that, according to how our spiritual life progresses, our consciousness changes. According to that, it's expressed by the person externally. In a subtle body, he loses the desire for certain things. Means he doesn't think it's so important. He can very well do without it. Like that, he will see these things happening to him. So what the Bhagavatam says that you will slowly get detached. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Asu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. It says that when you start serving Vasudeva through Bhakti Yoga, then detachment and knowledge comes as a byproduct of it. Janayati Asu Vairagyam. Asu means very soon. Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. It will just come causelessly. It's not that you specifically worked on Vairagya or specifically worked on knowledge. But by serving the Supreme Lord with love and devotion as per Bhakti Yoga, these things will come as a byproduct, provided you do all these things correctly. So you may say that the Sikshashtakam education that we are saying will be reflected, and you can measure, if you measure the person's desire and his detachment, you will know it is having effect. That's one methodology. Prabhupada told us that, and each one experiences it in his life also. I remember I was struggling to give drinking chai. I did not drink alcohol, that there's no that. I was a heavy tea drinker. Some 10 cups I will minimum drink every day. 10 cups of tea. And then I started getting all the spots and aching and all that, because sugar and all I'll put, white sugar. And the doc said, you stop drinking the tea. This is what is happening. As a youngster, I was in college and this thing and that. Daily hot, I have to drink something. Even today, I drink herbal tea. I have to drink something hot. So he said, if you don't do it in an older age, it will be very difficult. You better cut it down. You can take 2 cups a day. You must come down to 2 cups a day, morning, evening. He said, I could not do it for a long time. And then I came across the devotees. I started chanting Hare Krishna. And when I told them that this is what the doctor said, that and all will go. You just chant. Then I thought, what, that and all will go. I tried so many things, it never went. He said, no, you chant Hare Krishna. And within 3 months, I stopped drinking tea. I stopped drinking tea. I thought, forget it. And then I was drinking that Malli coffee a little bit. And then that also I stopped. And then somehow I was looking at the coffee one day, I can do without this. And then I was very stunned seeing that actually I can do without it. And I knew that it has happened because of my Bhakti Yoga process. So I have experience of that if you sincerely chant and follow these instructions, changes occur in you. It is just that people don't sustain those fresh changes and everything carefully and build it up. Somewhere along the line, they go back to adjusting this and that together and this and that together, and that time it gets diluted a bit. That's my answer to your question. Okay, a second question is, how do we set a curriculum of Sikshashtakam education and science and maths and chemistry to exist side by side? Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You can actually do Sikshashtakam education and you can write your own maths book and your own history book, your own science book. That will be the best thing. I'm sure we need to produce textbooks on the basis of Bhagavad Gita and the chanting of the holy name. And it is possible. It's a very exciting project. But I don't know how many takers will be there for those textbooks. Maybe devotees will buy them and even they will say this is very difficult or something. All of us have got an understanding of spiritual life, devotional life, everything based on the influence of a Western idea and a Western thought. This is one of the foundational problems I found, that most of us make decisions like that. That it's not a contamination, it's a very strong influence all over the world, especially Americanism. Whatever happens in America, everybody does. But that type of thing comes, we mix up especially Indians also have got more of it because of the colonial hangover onto them. and the way they look at it, they actually, every one of them sincerely appreciates this education. This is one thing I've noticed. Even devotees, they have appreciation. Even I have appreciation now for my school. I studied in convent Christian missionary schools. If I think about my younger days, I think it was nice. It was good learning. And I cannot say no to it. It's nonsense. It is Vidyavadu Jivanam is what should have been taught. Now I cannot say it so easily. Because it has got a very deep impression who teaches you in your young age. And we have missed out on that as Indians. We have outsourced our education according to the Western paradigm. Before that, it was internally education and the external thing was very less. Gurukula, you go to and come. But home was a lot of education, more than 50%. But that has completely stopped. These are all the principal things about education, due to which reason to introduce math, physics, chemistry on the basis of Krishna consciousness will take some time to be accepted. I personally had this experience here several times. I said, let's do homeschooling, don't send your children to. I'll give you a place here, we'll build a construction here and you can use it. Several mothers can come together every day and they'll spend 6 hours we will spend on education. We will teach them all sorts of amazing things, exciting education we'll do. We'll teach Bhagavad Gita plus maths, physics, chemistry, and they will write the exam also very well. They have to just go for public exam. So why don't you do it? You're all devotees. I will ask and find out and tell you, and all they said. Nobody did it. And then I asked, it was very embarrassing for them that I'm asking them again and again. Maharaj, how can I take that risk? It has not been done before anywhere. And what will happen to my child if this does not work out very well? Will he go to higher studies? Will he be able to get a job and sustain himself in future? Like that, those foundational questions came forth. So then I understood that we're all stuck in that paradigm of that Western sustainability, so-called sustainability model. And that has been thrust into everybody. And we have bought it, hook, line, and sinker also. And only now a little bit of reformation and something is happening because of Hare Krishna movement and some others, because of Hindutva government and some realizations of the fact, actually I'm a Hindu. Great. Suddenly, because of BJP government, suddenly I am a Hindu, like that. Some type of things are rising. But I think it will take a little time to do that. It's naturally going to happen. Okay. Ashwin Balaji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam. So my question is, Maharaj, in Bhagavad Gita, we are reading a person, not reading, Prabhupada is telling that person who studied matter, spirit, super soul is Dhira. And there are many glorification in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Dhira is like this. He is, very steady in everything. Dhira should be, Dhira is like this. Dhira, everywhere. Dhira only we are discussing about. And Nectar of Instruction, first sloka is telling, sober person means who is controlling his tongue, belly, genital, all those things. So is that all to a Dhira, or is there something more? Or who do you think a Dhira will be, or what would be his qualities, Maharaj? Because Dhira is the one who is completely educated about matter, spirit, super soul, all three, and that is what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So I think our aim should be to turn ourselves into such a personality. So that means we should know who is that personality in the first place. So since this today is about education, I thought this will be a relevant topic of discussion.
You see, normally people will all go through the path of knowledge, education, everything, most of them, in fact, all of them. But the fact that this spiritual education is irrespective of Gyan, that is the point being made. Very rarely somebody like Haridas Thakur will take it up. And those who take it up get the benefit. The proof is Prabhupada went all over the world and spoke to people who have no idea of this education, this knowledge at all. He made them all chant Hare Krishna and gave them the philosophy. He published the books and gave them the philosophy. They picked it up. That's a proof. They picked it up and they changed their lifestyle so much. All over the world, it is still happening. So it is proof of the fact that because they are getting educated, something which is totally different from what they were educated till now. And they're getting educated and they're turning out to be, I would not say 100% Dhira and all something like that, but they are Dhira-oriented path. They are moving in that direction quite fast. Right? So it shows that this devotional service practice, characterized chiefly by chanting of the holy name, is in itself the highest education for the soul. And what you will get as Gyan, like it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, is a byproduct of that direct bhakti thing if you do. It is mentioned very clearly. But mostly people will be inclined to follow the Gyan path. I want to know what I'm doing, why I'm doing. Curiosity laden. And we have done like these things throughout our life. We can't abruptly stop it and become Haridas Thakur. It is very difficult to do that. So within the conditioning that we are in, we will read and we will satisfy and appease our desire for knowing and asking and knowing, which is what Socrates was trying to say. Question, ask, get to know. Don't be not interested in knowing. Then you are an animal. Atatho Brahma Jigyasa means that is the single quality by which a human being can be distinguished. The desire to know. That's what makes him a human being. So that desire is there in all of us. And according to our karma, we are so-called educated or we are not. But what is happening to you is an education beyond your karma. It is not dependent on your karma. I think it is decided by Krishna and by your free will. And it happens. Right? That is what is being spoken about in my understanding. So you may use the plan of going through Gyan and reading the Bhagavad Gita, asking questions, attending seminars, lectures, and having your own realization coming to the point. Or I may be a village man, farmer. I studied till 6th standard. After that, I could not. But I am producing things and I have worldly wisdom. I am known to be a person who helps other people. I like to cultivate and I worship. I'm a nice man. I'm not doing anything socially wrong normally. And Hare Krishna has come to my village. And for the first time, somebody is taking their pains to come to us. So I welcome them in a rustic way. And they start speaking to me and they give me Bhagavad Gita and they say, you keep it, you read. I say, I'm not very good at reading. So no, whatever you can read, you read. But you must chant this. And I started doing it. And I'm very excited. And then because I'm very excited, I started reading. And I really started reading. I got very interested. And I started reading. And reading and reading and asked, is there any other book I want to read? I want to chant. I want to read. He got the taste of it. Right? And he is slowly developing. This is happening all over in many places now. In tribal areas now, we are preaching. No, we can see that happening. The soul wakes up and is very interested in knowing Krishna, chanting his names. This is Kali Yuga's special mercy, right? So are they getting educated or not? Is my counter question to you. They are coming to reading the Bhagavad Gita from a different route. You may be coming to the Bhagavad Gita from your earlier education and everything together, and analytical, rational, logical, scientific, everything you learn through that. But he is purely faith-based. But it doesn't mean it is blind faith. He's having realizations and he's checking it up and it's turning out to be true. And then he goes back again and chants it. And he's going in through a spiral like that, up. irrespective of what anybody else is teaching him or whether he's going to education institution or not. Tesham evanukampartam aham jam tamah nashayami atmabhavasto jnana deepena bashvata. I will light the shining lamp of knowledge, jnana deepa, from within your heart and destroy ignorance out of mercy for you. Anukampa. Tesham evanukampartham. I will destroy ignorance and establish knowledge as Paramatma in the heart. Who can stop that? No legislation from the government can stop that. Nobody else can stop that. And those who go against you cannot stop that. Nobody can stop that because it is between you and Krishna from within the heart. Now, are you getting educated by Lord or not? Of course you are. The real educator is Krishna. He comes through his various agencies as Guru, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, as the books and everything. But only when he is clicking with you inside, the knowledge appears. This is the origin of knowledge. Origin of knowledge is not you contacting the black and white print and thinking. This combination of 26 alphabets put together like this has got some meaning in it that comes out, and I formulate it and do that, and then I get that thrill and pleasure of actually discovering it to myself. And accomplishment it is. I found out what it is, like that. That's one thing. That also Krishna only is giving. That's one thing. But you being in a dynamic connection with Krishna, because you do bhakti yoga, and from there you get knowledge, is a different this thing. Right? So Dhira means a person who's fixed in the understanding that Krishna Bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoya. If I simply do Krishna Bhakti, everything will take care of itself. That is a Dhira. Arjuna similarly questions Krishna and asks, Sthita prajna ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava. Prabhupada explains Sthitadir Muniruchyate in the second chapter. That also is very similar to what you're asking. That's my take on that. Anybody wants to add something? Is that okay, Ashwin? Don't worry, if you have to ask anything and disagree also, it's perfectly all right. This is an open forum.
No,
Because the numbers are already reducing. They all are going back to office. Yeah.
I agree, Maharaj, completely. What you said is very unlike.
Okay, G. Right. So shall we call it today? Because I think people have to go to office or whatever.
Maharaj,
Yeah, tell me.
there is a question in chat, Maharaj.
There's one more question in chat. Why is the chat not coming up? Maharaj, Isopanishad 11 says it has to go side by side. What? Vidya and Avidya. I mean, we are not much bothered about Avidya because it's anyway part of our life. What it means when it says Vidya, you don't have to separately, you have to do Avidya also. You don't have to do that. What it means is, already you are in Avidya, you have to put in Vidya. Then it's automatically going side by side and you increase Vidya and displace Avidya. So the transition state always will be going side by side only. After a person is liberated and a pure devotee, there's no question of Avidya. But in the transition state of us, as long as we live in this world, Vidyamsa, Vidyamsa, both will go side by side. But we know what is what. And it's not that, you see, Avidya is not something that you should not be in or something. The whole world is Avidya. It's Jada, matter. And in many ways, according to that definition, we could say many things about our existence. But we don't take cognizance of it as being the be-all and end-all. We go behind Vidya. We go behind cultivating Vidya. Avidya is anyway part of our life. We are born into it. Everybody is born into ignorance. Right? Janmana jayate shudra. Shastra says, everybody is born into being an ignorant fellow. Shudra means ignorance, darkness. Samskarat bhaved dvija. By purification, you will become twice born. Vedapatat bhaved vipra. By taking initiation from a guru and studying under him the Vedas, you become Vipra. Brahma janat iti brahmana. Then you are led to understanding what is Brahman. In that time you become a Brahmana. So it is all happening. There is an educational process which is very different from what we know. So that is what I mean. I understand as a side by side. We don't have to separately go and spend time on avidya. We should rather spend time on vidya, because we are already doing quite a bit of avidya. When you are inside this body, it is called Jada Sharira. It has other meanings. Anup. Okay, Jayendran, Hare Krishna. Anup.
Maharaj, here actually word to word meaning says this Vidya Vadu Jivanam means there Vadu means wife, it comes. So if we see the proper meaning, it comes the life of the wife of the knowledge.
Yeah.
And that marriage, wife word there.
This is the translation given by Acharyas. What I'm telling, it's the life of education. I think Prabhupada translates it like that. So I'm more inclined to hold that translation. That seems to be the easier connection and understanding. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. If you want to look at it like the wife of Vidya, then how do you explain what is the meaning? Vidya Vadu Jivanam. What is the meaning of that?
That's what I didn't understand, Maharaj. Life of the wife of knowledge. That's how the meaning comes. If
That's
we
what is
see
happening. We don't know Sanskrit and we don't know what to interpret. We should not try to do it literally. You go around doing this thing to everything that Prabhupada has written, you'll see a completely different thing will emerge. It is not easy to translate a shloka into English unless you know the stuff. Unless you know the stuff. And Prabhupada knows what Krishna is speaking, what is required, what's the meaning of this in this context. And so he translates and he puts. Not everybody can give a meaning to the scriptural thing so easily. So if you may know a single word meaning, this means wife, but it doesn't fit in here at all. Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Where does wife come inside? In fact, some advanced devotees say wife is the reason for avidya, they will tell you. They'll give you a different interpretation of this whole shloka. Yes, it's right. Wife is very involved in stopping my vidya. Therefore, unless you have a wife like in the Puranjana story, wife is supposed to be the intelligence. Wife is supposed to be the intelligence. It's polluted intelligence. Kama akshaubita buddhi. It explains there that intelligence devoid of lust is what is required for us. Right? So intelligence itself becomes the person whom you put all your faith in and you like very much, and you put your all thing because it's completely materialized. Then life is different for Puranjana. So in that sense, we can interpret this Vidya Vadu Jivana. Can give another big tika and commentary. Yeah. Ashwin, you have one more question.
Not question, Maharaj. I just wanted to add to the same point. You anyway answered him. This shlokas, everything is actually poem, Maharaj. So we literal word to word translations will never work actually. And poem, if it is poem, then we should study about its meter. Then you know that metaphor, simile, all that, whatever the things,
Figures of speech.
figures, poetic stuff and all, they should be aware of. And I remember reading in one purport where Prabhupada says poem, not Prabhupada actually. I think somewhere maybe I will share it in the group, the reference. It says poem means if you read it, it should stir something inside our head. You know, that feel should come. That is a qualification of a poem. And whole Bhagavatam 18,000 verses is poem only. Complete poem. So I think literal, in fact, I feel sometimes that Bhagavatam, we should not give that word to word translations. It is ruining the effect of the poem. And, you know, we are reading the poem like a prose. And we are making mistakes sometimes when you're, you know, reading. So I think that is the reason why we feel when we read something, it is very mechanical. We don't read poem like a poem. We read poem like a prose, like that. We read and we go on. And I think that is where many things are lacking. I think we should get educated on how to read poem in the first place to understand Bhagavatam.
That's a very interesting thing you mentioned. Poem, poets, and poetic expression. You know, there is something called poetic license for a poet to stray like this and like that. But the Acharyas wrote Shastra and they also wrote poetic expressions. I mean, they also express themselves poetically. For say, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote very deep commentaries, especially his commentary on Nectar of Instruction. Very beautiful. And he's written another thing about sadhana called Bhajan Rahasya. Bhajana Rahasya. Very deep and very distinct. At the same time, you see his poetry, wow. His English poem that he has written, the razzle dazzle of this material world. And I don't know whether you've read it, that English poem. So wonderful. It like excites the deep feeling inside you, like you said. To say that the Bhagavatam is poem only may be not enough. The Bhagavatam is poem plus the absolute truth expressed in a poetic format. Plus it carries very deep imports on our existential situation. And all these things put together. When you say poem only, say we'll read lightly. It's a poem. Like recently somebody forwarded to me the poem of the Singaporean poet Lee Zhu something. And it was very thoughtful, reflecting Bhagavad Gita a little bit and other type of things in life. Nowadays, poems are a lot to do with that. Previously, poem of Robert Frost or Rudyard Kipling or William Wordsworth or Thomas Gray or any of these people, you'll see it's all about nature and the beauty of the scene and all those type of things. Now, poets are meant to be happy, light guys who just speak, and Prabhupada classifies them in a different way. He derogatorily talks about poets also. He said that poets and this are all materialistically oriented because they're enjoying their own composition and they're on the mind and the plane of the mind and everything. But Bhagavatam is both knowledge, intellectual stuff, it is poem, plus it is deep spiritual insight, reality, absolute truth, so many things put together. Therefore, the word-to-word meaning is very essential. Otherwise, like in Kerala, each one opens up the Bhagavatam, will be only so small. 12 cantos, only so much. I was wondering, how can it be? I said, then they told me there's no purport, no word-to-word, only translation. Only the shloka, not even translation, written in Malayalam. Oh, really? Then how does he explain? He explains it on his own. He carries on Bhagavatam, that's all. 18,000 verses under his armpit. That's it. He sits down and opens it. Nikamagalpattaror galitam phalam sukhamukhadam pratatrava samyutam vibhata bhagavatam rasamalayam mugurago rasika. Ivade rasika nu paranya. He'll start his own commentary. And you go on with one shloka for 15 days. And everybody is getting orgasms. Like that. In intellectual and mental, this thing, everybody enjoys it. And then they write, when they'll go and say that to the next fellow who comes and excites them also like that. This is all, poetic expression according to me. It's not Bhagavatam. There's just each one giving his own, and they talk very rich Malayalam. They'll quote this poet, that fellow, this fellow, and all that, and they'll use the Bhagavatam and show their literacy and their knowledge and everything together finally. When they get up and go, they will all be appreciating that fellow rather than Krishna, rather than the absolute truth. That's the effect. That is what is poetic. Poets Guild is there. The Poets Guild. They are interesting fellows. Some of them are intellectual, poetic people also. I like that. They write stuff about science and about the world situation now. And there are other types of poets, a lot of them, like I said, tra-la-la-la type of thing. I thought that should be understood. Therefore, I wanted to mention with this thing truly taken. Anup, Maharaj, in Janmana Jayate Shura, is this shloka, what does Vipra refer to? Literally means that one is qualified to study scriptures only after initiation, but it is different in ISKCON how to understand. A regular ISKCON question. As per Vedic knowledge, Vedic system of thought, if you want to get admitted into the Gurukula, if you want to study Veda, you should go through Diksha. The Guru will initiate you, your teacher. He'll initiate you into becoming a pupil, initiate you into learning the Veda and all that. That is what is. After that learning, you become a Vipra. You become a teacher, lecturer, professor type of thing. You're capable of conveying this information to others because you've understood it. So that's what is called Vipra. Most Brahmanas are automatically Vipras because they are educated. If you're all Janmana Jayate only, that means you're Shudra. You cannot say I'm a Brahmin by birth because the shloka says, if you're born in a Brahmin family, you're a Shudra without, samskara and education and all that. So my argument normally to people is, if you say by birth I'm a Brahmin, no, by birth you're a Shudra. Even inside a Brahmana family. So you can't claim that by birth I'm a Brahmin actually. You can claim I'm a Brahmin only by education, as per the shloka, only by samskara. By samskara you can say Dvija, by education you can say Vipra, by realization of Brahman you can say I'm Brahmana. Got it? I know still you're going to ask, but in ISKCON, we are reading and chanting even before initiation. Why? Because this is Kali Yuga and this is Lord Chaitanya's method. It is not directly Vedic. It's a mix of Pancharatric and something very different. Lord Chaitanya's method. If you chant Hare Krishna, you will get educated. For chanting Hare Krishna in the Chaitanya Chaitanya, it is mentioned you don't need initiation also. You get the point? It's all directly controlled by Krishna himself from Goloka. Anybody who has faith and you start chanting, he will be led to a guru. And formal initiation can be taken. Prabhupada says in this thing, from the moment I met Bhaktisiddhanta Sri Thakur and decided in my mind that I should accept him as my preceptor, I am already initiated, he said. This is where the knowledge is coming to me. This is a person who can guide me. From that onwards, I already initiated, he said. So it is not that initiation is only the gross things that we do. And initiation also is just the beginning. It doesn't mean that because you're initiated, you're already pakka and you're liberated and you can see some jyoti coming out of your ears and nose and everything. It is a starting. It's how you execute it. You have been accepted into the college with all the other pupils. It doesn't mean that therefore I'm a doctor already. Like in the Bhakti Shastri, some people think just by paying the fee and getting admitted into the Bhakti Shastri, I'll already become Bhakti Shastri. We had to tell them, no, your examination is done very badly, you failed. But I thought that if you just admit and attend the session, we will become Bhakti Shastri. No, you don't. That is why we have exams, to see whether you're understanding. And if you're not putting effort into understanding, you will not automatically become Bhakti Shastri. We'll fail you. We are going to fail you because although you are in the class, you are not understanding. You are not putting effort. So although you are initiated, if you don't perform, if you don't put your effort, it's not necessary that things will happen to you. So there is another aspect of all these things that has to be taken into consideration. Okay, I have to go. Ashwin Balaji has given another question and gone away. For example, try to grasp these definitions of kavya from Navyanayaya Alankritastraya given by Jagannitha in his scholarly work Rasa Gangadhara. He says that all kaya is made of words, but any word is not kavya. Only those words which generate chamatkritira, a special happiness not obtainable by worldly means, are kavya. This happiness cannot be described, but only experienced hearing of words leads to cognition of meaning, and on rooted pondering over the meanings there arises chamatkira. Ah, very interesting. That's interesting. Okay. Any other question? Any other question? We should close. Thank you, Ashwin Balaji, for that. Was interesting read. Om Tat Sat.